Every time I post a video about TF2, I get comments like this. Generally, it doesn't get to me. However, I think it shows a pretty major problem for TF2 creators and for the Team Fortress 2 community. I've seen a lot of discussions online about new content, originality, and the TF2 community. Conversations about creators, rehashing wiki information, how everything has been done before. Now TF2 YouTubers are really just scraping from beyond the bottom of the barrel. What I think people are talking about here is the Team Fortress 2 content cliff, the sudden drop-off of new, valuable, and engaging content for Team Fortress 2. The TF2 content cliff isn't a problem that's going to go away as new creators spawn in. We, as a community, are running full speed towards a cliff, one that I think is going to have major consequences for the Team Fortress 2 community. But I think there's a silver lining. When you think of your favorite Team Fortress 2 videos, what comes to mind? Are they videos from the last year? From the last 5 years? Are those creators still making videos? And if so, are those videos about TF2? The phrase content cliff is a little extreme. It acts as if we aren't already on a downward slope in terms of content creation. Since Jungle Inferno, we've been heading further and further away from updates that drip life into the conversation surrounding our community. Even that doesn't take into account the full picture. Video games are like cars. Once they've left the lot, they lose value. Some cars depreciate faster than others. Some cars started at a higher value to begin with. The updates along Team Fortress 2's timeline can be seen very similarly. In 2008, we reupholstered the seats. We added a new sound system in 2011. And since 2017, we've been adding a new little tree a couple times a year to give it that new car feeling. Content cliffs affect everything. You can only make so many videos about how to scramble eggs before you have to move on. For a long time, TF2 has been the exception to the rule. The community has seemingly gotten stronger with every generation of players, and in a lot of ways, right now is a resurgence. People who played TF2 as kids now look at the game with nostalgia. Community servers, mappers, and creators have flourished while the game itself has received little love from its creators. Community members have taken it upon themselves to update the game and make changes. 1000 Uncles is a great example of how creating a custom game mode can make a new buzz about the game. Open Fortress and TF2 Classic are great examples of how ideas for change can spin off into entire micro-communities and thrive on their own. So if the community is still changing and coming up with its own new ideas, is a content cliff really that bad? Two perspectives make TF2's content cliff impactful: the creator and audience perspectives. Burnout is a prominent issue in every creative industry, but especially impactful for the TF2 community. We've seen countless creators get burned out on Team Fortress 2 and decide to move on to other games, or even just completely stop making videos in general. It's easy to get burnt out on a project, especially when each one has to get bigger and grander than the last. That's something that every creator on YouTube deals with, and YouTube doesn't make it necessarily easier for you. Even if your videos are comparably of same value, some just will do worse. To make burnout even harder, originality plagues comments on Team Fortress 2 videos. Even if I come up with an idea that is unique to me, someone will just say I'm copying someone else or mention how my idea isn't unique in the first place. At this point, I can't even use copyright-free music from the YouTube audio library without getting called out for being unoriginal. But originality is just as much an internal desire as it is external. To hear that someone else has more or less said what you've already done previously is a gut punch. Even worse is when you're researching for a video idea that you think will be really interesting and cool, just to find out someone said practically what you were going to say anyway. Before my Sydney Sleeper video, I had planned to do a video on the Eureka effect, but while researching for that video, I just felt like everything had been covered, or I would just get comments that everything already had been covered elsewhere. Even though I love the weapon and it's unique to me, I felt like I could not make a video about it. It sucks for the audience in that case, because the chances are my video would have been much different than other people's. But at the same time, there's going to be a drove of comments that tells me I'm unoriginal, and I already kind of think the same thing. So why would I make the video? This is kind of the heart of the issue for content creators. There is a massive backlog backlog of Team Fortress 2 content out there that audience members can watch. And the thing is as a creator, I want to put my own original mark on things. So to know that something's already been done, even if not the same way as I would do it or unique to me, it just feels like I shouldn't make it. Community disinterest takes the first two issues of burnout and unoriginality and amplifies them tenfold. My best video on this channel is Spy is Broken, and it was completely driven by my passion for Spy in Team Fortress 2. I spent a year on that video. I re-scripted it twice. All of that was driven because I love the game and I love Spy. If I started getting comments about how unoriginal that video was, or that someone's already talked about problems in Spy before, I probably just wouldn't make videos anymore. Even further, to put in all that work and have a community who just doesn't care about the video in the end would make me feel burnt out. Why would I post another video? Why would I even talk about my interests in the first place? And add the fact that YouTube is trying to make creators monetize themselves and incentivizes growing and gaining an audience. If there's community disinterest, maybe creators should move somewhere else. There have been a lot of legendary creators who have put their mark on the Team Fortress 2 community and today are wildly successful in other genres. And that's partially because people are more interested in other communities. The other perspective that's super impactful for the content cliff? Yours. No one enjoys repetitive content. Seeing the same thing over and over again gets boring. If you watched 10 weapon reviews about the Sydney Sleeper before you watched mine, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. That's what happens to the audience when there's a content cliff. There's only a handful of creators making new content, or there's people who were inspired by previous creators making content that's very similar to theirs. I'm not saying that's bad. I oftentimes think that the best way to learn is to emulate what you like and adapt it. A lot of people commented on my videos previously about how it seems similar to X creator or Y YouTuber. I believe it probably is very similar because I'm inspired by a lot of amazing creators. The problem is, as we get into a content cliff, it's just going to be producing the same copy over and over again. It's kind of like a JPEG. Now, if you copy it to your computer, send it to your friend, they copy it, send it to a friend, eventually it's going to degrade over time. The other aspect of the audience perspective is nostalgia for older creators. I oftentimes will go back and watch content from creators 5 or 10 years ago. Why do I need new content if that's what I'm going to do? If there's less and less content around Team Fortress 2, and I'm finding that newer creators aren't being original with it, why would I watch the new videos? Nothing's changed about the game in the last however many years. If I watch a weapon review, it's going to be the same as when my favorite YouTuber was still posting. This just makes it harder for new creators, but also harder for the audience. You have a certain bar for quality, and the people who are testing out their editing skills or making hype montages aren't necessarily going to meet that bar. It makes the content cliff this perplexing issue. The audience wants something original, unique, and new, but the creators believe that they're making something original, unique, and new. And so all of a sudden, both sides just aren't enjoying being a part of this community. While researching for this video, I found a Reddit post by a TF-tuber called Sir Stranger. He talked about how he's feeling burnout for TF2 content creation, how there's so many great ideas in the community already, but he just feels like he can't come up with ideas that compete. And it's not that he can't come up with good ideas. One great one that people point out that he wrote was where to hide at the end of a match when your team loses so you don't die. But for Sir Stranger, this isn't good enough. Just because it is unique doesn't mean it's impactful or matters to him. And I think that's part of the issue with the content cliff. There's nothing new to make that feels impactful for the creators and the audience watching it. Just because an idea is good doesn't mean it has the impact you want it to. We're heading for an era where few creators have the energy to make videos about TF2, and the content they make won't satisfy the need for originality that the audience craves. At least that's what it looks like, right? If you needed a refresher on European history, the Dark Ages were a time of unprecedented cultural, intellectual, and economic decline. TF2's Dark Age will look very similar. A decline in both the cultural and intellectual discussions surrounding the game or community. Using the Dark Ages as an actual analogy, we had our great TF2 scholars such as El Maxo Aurelius, Lecturus Purple, and Justin of Funk. The Dark Ages will be a time of the simple clip farmer, the occasional blessing from the Church of Dane, or the light of solar. But there is one more way that TF2's content cliff is like the Dark Ages. It's in the past. I lied when I said we're heading full steam for a content cliff. We've already jumped off the content cliff. Team Fortress 2 hasn't been updated in years. That is our content cliff. There's nothing new and unique to make. But just like a car that leaves the lot and depreciates, eventually it turns into an antique. Something that a community of people come together to work on. A community of people help one another learn the ins and outs of this unique model, and that is exactly what Team Fortress 2 is, a beautiful antique car. TF2 is not the only community to live through their content cliff. Mario 64 very similarly has its own content cliff, but then because of speedruns, it came back. And chess, goddammit, the oldest game in existence, had its own resurgence. Team Fortress 2 may very well be at its prime of its existence, all because we've survived past our creator no longer making updates for the game. Instead, the community, the creators, the people who are actually playing the games are the ones continuing to love it, cherish it, and update it. Before I started making TF2 videos, I hadn't played the game since high school. I was in my sophomore year of college. Then I saw a video by Uncle Dane reintroducing me into Team Fortress 2, and I played it constantly after that point. I was playing TF2 for hours on end every single week. The community itself brought me in with open arms. I started playing on Uncletopia, and you know what? I love it. It's because I came back to the game when I was older that I fell in love with it. I don't think I would make TF2 videos today if I hadn't played it as a kid, and I know for a fact I wouldn't be making TF2 videos today if I didn't come back to it. After the Dark Ages was the Renaissance, and I truly believe right now TF2 is in a renaissance. I think we've suffered through our content cliff and are starting to walk on a completely new path. One that's not dictated by the creators of the game, but rather a path that is controlled by us, the community of the game that loves it so. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned there is a silver lining to the content cliff. That silver lining is you. While Valve made Team Fortress 2, what made Team Fortress 2 the game it is today is all of the TF2 creators that have made content about it. If we didn't have a community that was so strong, Shonik would never be able to make custom maps with his YouTube followers. If we didn't have a community that was so strong, Uncle Dane would have never opened up Uncletopia. If we never had Uncletopia, El Maxo would have never learned about Bing Soy. Everything is connected to the community, which is why I want you to start making content for Team Fortress 2. It doesn't have to be much, but I know for a fact all of you have something unique that you love about Team Fortress 2. And the likelihood is that the thing you love about X item in the game, or unique silly interaction that happened to you, or your one friend who does that weird stuff with Huntsman all the time has not been talked about before. If passionate members of the community do not make content for the game, we will slowly cease to exist, which is why I implore you to make your own content. If you have any questions about how I make my videos or ways for you to make videos, go ahead and do it. Download OBS right now. I would love to teach you how demos work in TF2, and that way you can save recording space except for the clips that you actually want to save. But most importantly of all, I would love nothing more than to get to see your videos. I am an audience member of the TF2 community. I started making videos because I'm passionate about the game, and you should too. Don't do what I did. Make videos about the Eureka effect. Make videos about things you love. Talk about creators within the community. Talk about unique things within the community. Start off small. Show off your market garden bangers. Show off the funny thing that's happening in Uncletopia. Look at the dang chat that goes on in casual matches. But most importantly of all, just make something for the game. I'm gonna be happy to watch it. Send me your stuff. Speaking of content creation, I am making content right now. And if you would like to support that, I have now enabled super chats on my videos. You can write a comment like Sydney Sleeper Trash and also give me like $2. Or I have a Ko-Fi link. I have a year of videos that I'm planning on doing this year, 12 videos, one every month. I have more bonus videos in mind, so if you want to support the other 10 videos, or 10 plus if you want to see some of the bonus ones, go ahead and support me. Anyway, this video you could say is sponsored by viewers like you. You can join my Discord in the description. Watch this video here, it's my latest one, or you can go ahead and watch my Spy is Broken banger right here. Thank you all for watching, and bye for now.